Hey there, fellas. Remember this here Fiat we featured a while back? It's a pretty nice old thing, and I love it to bits. Super cool car. We've actually done a ton of stuff to it. A loud exhaust, a quiet exhaust. We attached 6 wheels to the rear axle. They rotated in different directions and whatnot. 'Twas pretty sick, so it's been sitting around for quite a while now. And I've been monitoring the comments and suggestions box. And we've actually been receiving a ton of photos like this one you see right here. And so in order to put the car to good use, we've decided to fit it with a 5th wheel, which should help us park the car a bit more easily. You see, there's always a bunch of cars around and a lack of parking space. Sometimes you see a spot, but then it turns out that it's impossible to fit your car in there. It's all down to the physical limitations of a car, which is unable to slide into a parking spot sideways. Though wouldn't it be pretty cool if it could? That's exactly why we've decided to install a 5th wheel onto this thing, which will help park the car in tight spots. Right, let's go ahead and make a 5th wheel and see what it can do. Let's get to it. 5th wheel for parking. Can we make this work? Translation and voiceover by BMI Russian. Check this out, guys. Look at this mechanism we've concocted. This right here is the drive mechanism for the wheel. We've used a couple of starter motors, a flywheel, a few wheel bearings. It's a pretty simple layout, but there is a slight problem. Namely, the rotational speed. It gets up to such a speed that... Are we going to power it up? I reckon we hook it up and take a look. Wait. Yeah. Seems to be in check. Half an hour and you're there. Okay, so you saw how fast this thing was rotating. And now... Well, yeah, it'll definitely be under some load. And it's not like it spins up and gets up to speed immediately, so... I guess now it's all a matter of trying it out, to see what's up. I mean, it might so happen that this 5th wheel, which is meant for parking, will in fact turn the car into an amusement park ride. Right, let's throw everything together and do some testing. Right, fellas, it's all coming together very... It's looking super nice. The wheel itself, you can barely even see it. As soon as we close the lid, none of these inner workings are going to be visible at all. The wheel still runs on that starter motor drive setup. As for lowering the 5th wheel and lifting it back up, we've done things a bit differently. It's a somewhat unorthodox solution. You'll get a better look once we get into the cabin. All in all, we're ready, and it's high time we begin testing. Let's do this. Right, so take a look at our setup for lowering the fifth wheel. We did our very best to keep things simple. And so right here we've got a rattle gun, some extensions. See them at that end over there? And on top of that, you have a normal sort of automotive jack. So why did we opt for this sort of solution? Well, you can switch the rattle gun rotation back and forth, meaning you can adjust the lift, the lowering from up front, as well as the lift. It's all quite simple, with no apparent clever engineering. But, well, simplicity equals reliability. All right. Nice. And we've already got a car parked over there, next to a divider. Come on, move it. Let's go already. Let's get a bit closer. Right, we've made our way over here. Fantastic. And what do we have to do now? Basically squeeze this thing's rear end into that there space. Closer to the wall. Now I reach for the rattle gun. That should do the trick. And now, well, the mechanism is hooked up to the turn signal array. Holy... Fantastic. I'm in. The gap is quite small. There is not a lot of space behind me. Nice. Now let's roll out. There we go. Now we place the car onto the ground. Come on now. Sweet. Bring that car a bit closer, will ya? Look at them laughing. It keeps stalling abruptly. Why? I guess this is another way to park it. Let's give it a shot. Come on now. There we are. Right. I reckon I should bring it forward slightly. If only just a tiny bit. Go for it. Okay. Stop yelling, will ya? The problem is it might not even fit. This is my first time parking in such a manner. See? I told you it wouldn't fit. Keep trying. Someone just had to park their shitbox. Now we're talking. Did it move? There we are. Awesome. That's how you park a car. And now anybody who walks by is going to be wondering, how the hell did that thing even fit in there? And why? Let's see how much space we got up front. Seems to have rolled back. Quite a bit, actually. But over here, it's a perfect fit. Both cars are super close. Isn't that nice? Though I do think we actually might have seen this somewhere before. In Europe, I think. A few cars parked in the same way. This is pretty neat. Given the amount of space we got, fitting the car in here is a piece of cake. You don't necessarily even need to wreck the car standing next to you. But this does take some getting used to. We've covered these windows, so you can't really see anything out of them. Then again, when you get up close, you can sort of feel that there's not quite enough space. But then you're like, no problems, I'll just give that car a nudge. Which is what happened in our case. So we've established that you can easily park this thing. But how about doing a U-turn? I'll go ahead and try doing just that. Let's get to it.
Get it, comma and a comma, gotta get it, and it's a ticket talking miles
Lovely. Okay, fellas, now you've seen what sort of capabilities a 5-wheeled car possesses, one fitted with an additional wheel for parking or doing a 180-degree turn. It's a very convenient thing indeed. Some time ago, maybe in the 50s or the 60s, or maybe it was even the 40s, I can't quite remember. Anyway, somebody was actually developing this sort of device, albeit not in our country. Now, if you do ever find yourself in a hopeless situation in a very tight parking space, you could just slide your car out of a tight spot and drive off. I mean, using the fifth wheel, obviously, not lifting the back end with your hands. It is such a cool thing. Go ahead and make one if you don't believe me. And it's actually a pretty simple thing to fabricate. And it works quite well. Even if you put together a makeshift device, it's still gonna do its thing. So yeah, guys, don't be afraid to experiment. You can definitely make it work. And that's all I have for you today. Watch us, subscribe, send in your comments and suggestions, give us a big thumbs up. Alright, catch you later.